get this thing recorded to the cloud. And, it's with that, it is 8:01 and it is March the 23rd and it is Motivation Monday. And I love Mondays. I mean, I'll tell you what, unlike most people that have heart attacks on Monday, I look forward to it. I look forward to getting through the weekend, even though I work most of the weekend anyway, because I want to, not because I have to, but because I want to. And, I look forward to getting back in the groove, right? Back into things and helping as many people as possible. And, guys, that's why I decided to do this, was that I wasn't done. I determined that, when I saw this opportunity in June of 2018, I made the determination that I wasn't done. So, with that, in the next few minutes, I want to show you how you can change your outcome. I want to show you how you can create a residual income from home, right? How you can become your own boss, how you can start your own global product distribution business, how you can get out of debt if that's one of the things that you're going to enjoy doing, and how you can live your dream life. And I don't know what that dream life is, but I know that you've got one. I have had one. I've had an amazing life, but I want to just move everything along. I'm going to give you a plan that has the potential to make you one of the top 1% of the income earners in the country. So pay attention as we move forward, because I seem to go through this very, very quickly. So a little bit about myself. I don't want to, spend a great deal of time on this, but I think I'm uniquely qualified to bring this information to you and help you do things because of what I've done in the past. So it's not that I'm, any better than anybody else. I've just had a damn lot of experience doing this. So, I've, for the last 18 months, I've been talking about plan B, plan B, plan B. I've been talking about, some of those options about, hey, what if you get fired? What if you get some bad news from the doctor? What if this? What if that? I never thought about what if we got hit with a damn pandemic. I just never did think about that. I don't think any of you did either, because it wasn't something that we thought about. But guess what? We're going to think about it from now on. It's going to go down in our memory banks of something that we survived through, and how to better plan for the next one, because this is not the first one. It's not the last one. It's just one, right? We're going to get through it. Everything's going to be fine, but it's not the last one, I'm here to say. So everything in your life, just like my life, is a choice, is a reflection of a choice that we've made. So once you decide that you want things to change, and it really has to be you, right? It can't be me wanting your life to change. It's got to be you wanting your life to change. And you're going to have to step up and say, you know what? I hate my life-sucking job. I hate my life-sucking life. And I want things to change. I want it to be different than what it's been for the past 10 years, 15, 20 years, 30 years, whatever the case may be, whether you're 18 or 80, you just want your life to be different. So, when I was a kid, I looked back at, the people that I knew that were in my life, and I said, you know what? I don't want to wind up like that. I knew right then and there that there had to be a different path, because I didn't want to wind up like all the people that were around me, my family, right? My father, my mother, my relatives. I said, there's got to be a different way. And luckily, I ran into a mentor that changed my life. So, what I want to do is, just talk to you about, how you can change your outcome for less than the cost of a new smartphone. and a little consistent part-time effort over the course of the next 1 to 3 years could have a dramatic impact on your life for the rest of your life, and be able to give you the flexibility and freedom that I've enjoyed and so many others that are involved in this industry enjoy. So, you know, I'm going to show you the quickest and easiest path to a six-figure income. Now, it's taken me 18 months to figure out how to actually put that down on paper and make it simple and easy. You know, what I've discovered about educators, professors, is that they take something simple and easy, make it difficult so that they can, you know, confuse all of us, right? And justify their existence. What we do as network marketers and as people that teach other people, we take things that are somewhat difficult to understand and we try to make them simple and easy. So that's what I've done. I'm sorry it's taken me so long. The action plan is pretty simple. You know, start out at the Business Builder Pack. We've got other ways to start, but I'm saying that, yes, I know that maybe $600 is a lot of money, but if you can find it, that's the best way to start. And it does this. It maxes out the comp plan. You know, you earn the maximum amount of money from the compensation plan when you start like that. If you start any other way, you can start, but you don't max out the plan. Now, obviously, you're going to have to start wherever you want to start, but then you've got to make a commitment. And this is not a 90-day commitment. This is the next year. Let's just say, okay, it's March 2020. Let's make it March 2021. This is your commitment for the next 12 months, right? You got to find one person a month, just one person a month. Now, you're going to find other people that don't start at a Business Builder Pack, that won't do 3 products a month. You know, those will come into your life as well. But the person that you're looking for one person every month that'll duplicate what you've done. So if you can see yourself doing this, you're at the right place at the right time. And the best time to start, actually the best time to start was when I started back in June of 2018. I wish I could take you back to that time and we could all start together. But, and the next best time was when my sponsor, Rick Geralds, and his sponsor, John Horenza, started in 2014. Not really, because that was the growth stage. That was the stage when the company is, very volatile, right? And actually and truly, now is the time to start. Everything's been figured out. The formulas have been figured out. The new factory, if you were on the call with us on Saturday with Kevin Thomas, the new factory is up and running. 8.5 acres, folks. I mean, just an amazing facility. But here's what happens. If you'll do and follow this very, very simple plan of finding one person a month that'll buy a Business Builder package, that'll commit to buying 100 BV, business volume, or 3 products. You can do it with 2 products, but 100 business volume of products. This is what's going to happen over the course of the next 12 months. So I'm going to take you through this in 90-day segments. The first 90 days, here you are. You got 7 whole people in your organization. You've made a little bit of money, right? You made a little bit of money, but then you've spent money. You've started at the month after you purchased your Business Builder Pack, you started spending for those 3 products. And yes, it's going to come out of your pocket initially, but very quickly it'll come out of your earnings and you won't know that it even happened. So here you are, 6 months into the deal. Now, 6 months seems like a long time. And for some people, it will be a long time, but you know what? It goes by very, very quickly. Here you are. You've made $890. You've spent a little bit of money. You're $770 in the black. You've actually made money, right? Now, watch what happens over the next 90 days, right? Your organization has grown from 63 people to 511 people. You've made over $5,000 that month in total, you've made over $12,000. You see, it's just like that penny doubling concept, right? Not very much in the beginning, but then as it continues and everybody else continues, it just continues to add up. The next 90 days are awesome, right? The next 90 days, you begin to actually believe that this is going to work. I mean, you see this whole thing working, and you know, you've now made $68,000 for the month. You made 124 grand, and your wife is off your back, or your husband is off your back, depending upon who's working the business. My initial 12 months in the business in network marketing didn't turn out like this. My first check was $43, right? My first check was $43. My wife was rolling around on the floor, you know, laughing about the $10,000 I had just spent, you know, traveling around the world, getting trained, because there weren't systems like this. You know, she said, "This is it? This is all you made, $43?" And I said, "Yeah, but it's going to get better." Well, it couldn't get any worse, right? It couldn't get any worse. So it had to get better. And, you know, I became a student. See, what happened to me, guys, is that a good friend of mine drugged me and kidnapped me, put me in a car, took me to over to Memphis, Tennessee, and took me to a network marketing meeting. He told me we were going to Beale Street. He told me we were going to have barbecue. He told me all these lies, and he took me to a network marketing meeting. And what I found in that meeting were a lot of people that didn't look particularly smart, that were making more money monthly than I was making annually. So I paid very close attention. You know, it got my attention. And that's what I try to do every Monday. Every time we do a Zoom, I try to get somebody's attention, because we're at the right place at the right time. You might not think it right now, but I'm going to tell you what happened to me. Dave Jordan called me in May of 2018. I was the fattest I had ever been. He said, "Chuck, we got the most amazing weight loss coffee you've ever seen in your life. It's amazing. People are getting crazy results. People are losing, you know." And I said, "Dave, I'm not interested in doing anything. I'm happy, I'm fat, and I'm just going to live like that." And he said, no, you got to try this. And I said, "Okay, I'm going to try the coffee, not interested in building the business." I did. I tried it. I didn't pay much attention to it, quite frankly. Lost 9 pounds the first week, lost 18 pounds the first month. Then I said, "Okay, something's up. You know, this stuff is outrageous," right? I said, everybody's going to want to drink this stuff, because look, we're all fat, we're all lazy. And, you know, I was the best example of fat and lazy. So I didn't want to go to the gym. I didn't like to sweat, you know, I didn't like to get my hair messed up. So, you know, I said, "Dave," I called him up on the phone. I said, "I just bought an airplane ticket to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, never have been there. And I'm going to come and spend a couple of days with you." Well, I went hoping and praying that I would find a company that was in total disarray, that I could use that as an excuse not to do Valentus. Because my buddy Rick was doing it for 4 years. John Horenza had been doing it for 4 years. And I thought, well, you know, that's good for those guys. But, you know, well, I found a company that was just the opposite of being, you know, a disaster. I found a company that had all the pieces in place, ready to go into hyper growth, right? And you know, it's amazing when you can catch a company at the right phase of their growth. Now, you know, last year, 2019, great year, right? Up 525%. Obviously, it's got a little rocky in 2020, but I think, you know, all those things and all those situations and challenges will be past us very, very shortly. This is what's happened, you know. I mean, you got a guy like John, who's the best guy on the planet. When he's making $500,000 a month, you know, you got to say, you know what? I know he's a pretty smart guy, but is he really that smart? No, he just has a bigger organization. I'm going to talk to you about reoccurring sales and exponential growth. But our product line has grown from 4 products now to 24 products. I've got about 8 products in there that I absolutely love. I won't do without. I won't do without the Emulant. I won't do without my coffee. I won't do without my next favorite, this Hybrid 8. I started using that, and you know, the fat is melting off while I sleep. Yeah, that's a good one. The 24/7 is amazing. I love the Prevail trim product, the Immune Boost product, and there's just product after product after product that I love, and I'm sure you'll love them too. You just have to get in there and take a look. So go to valentusproducts.com. Also go to our Facebook page, which is fbtestimonials.info, fbtestimonials.info, and take a look at all the products. So let me tell you 2 of the components that really make this whole business work. Exponential growth, right? It's that penny doubling, right? And reoccurring sales. The reoccurring sales is one of the primary components that create massive income. So large numbers of people doing a little bit of business and you earning a small percentage. Now you see what I did here. I took the slide that you looked at earlier, and instead of doing 1 a month, I did 1 a week, right? 1 a week. And I know a lot of you out there, given our circumstances, and what I mean by that is that a lot of us are home, right? I mean, if you call somebody right now, guess what? They're home. More than likely, they're home. And no telling how long that's going to continue to go on. But this is what would happen if you built your business using that model that I just gave you. 1 business builder a week that commits to trying 3 products every month and will find 1 person every week, right? Everybody does exactly the same thing. You know, in a very short period of time, I'm talking, 8 weeks, you've made $7,800. That would improve a lot of people's lives. You wouldn't have to worry about a government bailout. You wouldn't have to worry about a $1,200 check in the mail. The next week, 16 grand, 33,000. Come on, call 10 of your friends and say, hey, I found a way for us to make money at home. I'm going to send you a video, and then we're going to get on the phone and talk. That's all you got to do. I found a way for us to make money at home. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to get started. I just want you to pay attention to what's going on. So my life has been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I didn't expect it to turn out like this. It just kind of happened along the way. This was our race team. We had a Grand Prix team. We had an offshore team. That was our offshore hydroplane called the Gator. We then went and had an Indy team. We ran in the Indianapolis 500. I've got an owner's jacket. Absolute incredible time. I grew up in the basement apartment in Cicero, Illinois, with brothers and sisters, and I always wanted my own room. So this is how I started, right? I wanted a lot of space, right? So this is one of the houses. We've owned 12 houses over the course of the last 30 years. Given we've had the freedom and the flexibility to live anywhere we wanted to live. And so when we found somewhere that we wanted to live, we just picked up and signed a contract with Allied and said, here, move us. And so we would up and move. We've had a few cars. I had to keep selling them every time we moved, because when you move 4 or 5 or 6 cars, it gets very expensive. We got over to North Carolina, and my little daughter got into horseback riding. I got her into horseback riding at age 5, and that became a very expensive hobby. But because we had to have all the other stuff that went along with it, like barns and pastures and trailers and trucks and so on and so forth. We can ride down to the ocean. We're right on the ocean, so we can ride down to the ocean. Another one of the houses, first house that we bought here in Wilmington, had a beach house on the ocean about 25 miles north of here on a little island. Great place to be, incredible place to be. And then of course we had a penthouse in Grand Cayman. Always tried to get my wife to move out of the country and just let me go down and play guitar and sing on the beach or something, and drink rum or do something. But living the dream is possible. And what I want you to do, I mean, I hope that you got a little bit of the sense of urgency about where we are with Valentus. I don't know where you are in your life's journey, but, if you're like so many people, you're not making enough money, you don't have enough free time, you're probably scared to death right now of all the things that are happening, but hey, it's all going to pass. And, I want to take this opportunity to just reassure everybody that, we're all going to get through this, and we're going to get through this just fine. But I want to take this opportunity to show you another little. I'm going to call it just a training, but but I want to kind of go through this because I thought it was really apropos to where we are, right? Something to think about, right? Not a single shot was fired over the past 2 weeks. No bombs were dropped. And take a step back and think about what has happened. The biggest, strongest, and most vibrant economic power in the world has ever witnessed has come to a screeching halt, has been brought to their knees, basically. And if you really digest the impact of the past several weeks, this is far more important than just the virus. The coronavirus will pass. I don't mean in any way to mitigate the human damage that it's caused. Tens of thousands of sick Americans and Europeans and people all over the globe, maybe hundreds of thousands, and way too many will die. But the most serious revelation out of all of this is rather simple and at the same time very terrifying. There are bad actors in the world, and they have access to bad things like this. So I think this was a mistake. I think that it was an accident, but it clearly demonstrates that the best military, the best missile defense, the biggest and most powerful Navy in the world ever cannot save us from such an onslaught as something like this. So, I just say we've got to be prepared. This is a watershed moment. And, it'll be something that I'm going to use in my presentation from this point forward, because 2020 will always be the virus that brought us to our knees. And you better have a plan B. You better have a plan B. You better have something else, because you never know when your plan A is going to get wiped out, just like so many jobs have been wiped out. Will they ever come back? I don't know. Hopefully they will, but it's been definitely a learning experience for a lot of people, a very costly learning experience. So I hope you got a little sense of how I feel about everything. And, you've got to have a plan B, and I always ask people, are you happy doing what you're doing? Well, if you were to ask them right now, yeah, I was happy doing what I was doing, but now I'm not doing it. And I talked to people today, and it's not a laughing matter. They just said, you know what? I'm not going to get paid this week. I'm not going to get paid next week. I don't know when I'm going to get paid again. And so I'd be open to looking at almost anything. So, again, I'm going to encourage all of you to reach out to people and give as much encouragement as you possibly can to all the people that you know, because they need us as much as we need them. So get out and reach out to them. So, hey, you guys have all seen this. I couldn't find, there's this story about this dog that's laying on the front porch, and it's laying on the front porch and it's whining and crying. And the neighbor comes up and he says, hey, why is your dog whining and crying, on just sitting there? And the guy looks over at the dog, looks at the guy that walked up, and he says, well, he's laying on a nail. And the neighbor says, well, why doesn't he get up? And the guy says, well, the owner says, well, because it doesn't hurt enough yet, right? It doesn't hurt enough yet. And that's, here we are, we just run into the biggest hurt that we'll see in our lifetime, this whole pandemic, right? It doesn't hurt enough yet. But, we've spent our life working for a living. I talk about the age and the peak of human misery. Well, that peak of human misery may have been moved forward depending upon where you are right now during this whole pandemic. But, we've all got to just move on along and talk about the things that are really going to make a difference in everybody's life. And that is having a strong belief system, right? I mean, there's nobody that can tell me that network marketing doesn't work. Doesn't matter. I mean, you put me on the phone with anybody. Yes, it takes some effort. There's no doubt about it. It's going to take more than just a little bit of effort. Let me just put it that way, because, it's, I wish that things would all come together as it's planned, as I laid out those things, but we know that won't happen. If it does, it'll be a miracle. But, finding that one person and getting them to duplicate is more than a notion, right? It's possible, but it's more than a notion. It's going to take a huge desire on your part to be, have the strength to move forward every day. And you got to keep moving, forward, action all the time. You got to stay committed to your dream, to your goal. And if you make that goal and your commitment to 1 year from now, and that's what I say, make a commitment for a year from now, right? Stay disciplined and stay in tune to where you want to go, and keep track of where it is you want to go, and stay consistent. Stay consistent with everything. So, stay consistent with talking to people, stay consistent with putting me on the phone with prospects. You and I jump on the phone together, we can do 10 calls. I'm happy to sit down and do one call right after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next. See, I'm not going anywhere. I have nothing to do but do this. Let me tell you a few things of what network marketing isn't. I had to find out this the hard way, because when I first got started, nobody told me this. Nobody said, hey, Chuck, don't worry about selling the product. Just go about building a team. I know they must have talked about that in a training somewhere, and I must have it in my notes someplace, but I thought it was all about selling a product. So I was busy taking products to people's homes, hooking them up on their sink. And these were water filters, and they were great water filters, but you could only sell so many, right? You could only sell so many by yourself. And, after failing for about a year, I finally humbled myself to asking somebody who was quite my junior, who was making a lot more money than I was. I said, I hate to ask you this, but I said, you're making a lot more money than I am. I'm a lot smarter than you are. What's wrong here? There's something wrong with this picture. He said, well, what do you do on a daily basis? I said, I'm trying to sell these damn water filters. He said, you got to stop that. You got to stop that. And I was confused. I was totally confused at that point, right? And so he said, all we want to do is we want to share the products with people. We want to share the opportunity with people. And we want to start building and promoting for all the events that we're having. And we want to find other people that'll do the same thing. I said, well, who's going to sell the damn products? He said, don't worry about it. Somebody will. And so when I finally grasped that concept, I said, okay, I can do that. And my income immediately picked up, right? And I have to tell a funny story. My wife got, my checks started increasing on a monthly basis. That's when we got monthly checks. She opened up a check about 90 days later, and she said, they've obviously made a mistake in this check because it's got a comma in it, and you should take it to the bank and cash it right away. So, in case they did make a mistake, at least we've got the money. And I said, no, it's going to continue growing and can continue growing. And she said, okay, but go take it to the bank anyway. So I did. Next month, my check came. It was even larger, even larger. And she said, obviously something is going right. I'm so glad that I convinced you to do this. And I almost fell over, right? I mean, I said, yes, honey, yes, you're the smart one. And I give you all the credit for convincing me to do this. So the fundamentals of the network marketing industry haven't changed in 50 years. Exponential growth, reoccurring sales. I mean, this is, if you begin to understand how dynamic this is, then you'll start to get it. I mean, just put in one player a month or put in one player a week. I mean, I like the one a week schedule better than the one a month schedule. But even after one a month, you get to 409,000. I mean, that equates to $27,000. You see, in the Valentus model, that dual team income is really where the majority of our money comes from. In the Valentus model, $480 is 300 BV. What happens is every time the computer sees 200 BV on one side and 100 BV on the other side, it generates $20. Well, $20 is not much money at all until you built a large network. Now, and it just is going to take time to build that large network, but it will happen. That $20 can be paid up to 5,000 of those cycles, those $20 cycles every week. That's 100 grand. That's 100 grand. So I'm sure you can get by on $100,000 a week. And I know those numbers scare people to death sometimes, but they're real. People are already earning that kind of income. So I want to show you this, and then we're gonna call it a night. But I'm gonna move this down here. This is a one model. This is a 1X model, which means, and you can put this as 6 weeks, you can put this as 6 days, you can put this as 6 months, you can make this 6 years. I mean, it really does, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So, here's what you would make in this model if you did one, right? One a week, one a month. Now, if you do two, exactly the same, a little bit more effort to do two, but you see the results are a little bit different. Now, obviously this is set up by monthly because here's the $160 a month. Now, obviously you would make a little bit more money if this was weekly because you wouldn't be spending $160. But you know what? The results are going to be very, very close to the same. Now, if you kick it up a notch, let me show you what happens. If you kick it up a notch, here's what happens, guys. Here's the 3X model. The 3X model is really makes all the difference in the world. Now, is it 3 times as hard as the 1X model? Maybe not. It depends upon your sphere of influence, your contact base, your credibility with those people. I know people that can call 3 people today and sign 3 people up. It's just about, and we're not talking about $60,000. We're talking about $600. Hey, I found something that's awesome. It's going to cost you $600. I'm going to send you a video. People are making money, and I want you to be part of what's going on. I mean, that's as simple as it is. So let's keep it simple, and let's start knocking the ball out of the park. The last thing that I'm going to show you is the fish jumping in the boat, right? Now, again, there's a long story to this, but you know, when we reach a certain point of growth in Valentus, this is exactly what happens. You know, when prospects and people start joining your business so quickly, you can't even believe it. You start making more money than you can take to the bank. And, you know, we're not that far away from that happening to everybody, but you just got to stay focused. You've got to stay on point. You got to stay on purpose. Tomorrow night on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on this very same code Zoom, we'll have another presentation. So make sure that you're here. Call your best friend, call everybody on your team, get them to plug in to the message. And you just never know. You never know who might get excited and start jumping into the boat, start calling a bunch of people, because that is really what needs to happen at this point in time. So then on Thursday night, we'll have another presentation, and on Saturday, we'll have a presentation and a training. So with that, God bless everybody. Thanks for joining me here this evening. It's always a pleasure to be with everybody. Let me get everybody's smiling faces back up here again. So with that, Rocky and I are going to call it a night. We're going to go put the horses away, and we're going to enjoy the next few days as it climbs up to 80, 82, 83 degrees. So with that, God bless everybody. Stay safe. Call your friends. Tell them that you've got some great news to share with them. They need to hear some great news. So with that, I'm out of here.